When money becomes worthless, imagine paying $2 million for a single loaf of bread. Now imagine that a few hours later, that same loaf of bread costs $3 million. Your money is worthless, and it's getting worse by the hour. This isn't fiction. This actually happened in Germany in 1923, and the terrifying part? It wasn't an accident. It was deliberate. Today, the United States is following the exact same playbook. The treaty that destroyed a nation. November 11th, 1918. Germany surrendered. After 4 brutal years, World War I was finally over. But for Germany, the nightmare was just beginning. June 1919. The Hall of Mirrors at the Palace of Versailles. German representatives signed a treaty that would break their nation. And the location? That was intentional too. 48 years earlier, in 1871, Prussia had defeated France and declared the German Empire in this very same Hall of Mirrors. France wanted revenge, and they got it. The Treaty of Versailles was brutal. Germany lost 15% of its territory. 7 million Germans became citizens of other countries overnight. The military was completely dismantled. The army was limited to 100,000 men. The navy restricted to vessels under 100,000 tons. The air force was banned entirely. Conscription was abolished. All heavy artillery, aircraft, tanks, and warships had to be handed over to the Allies. But the real punishment? The one that would destroy Germany's economy? 132 billion gold marks in war reparations. In 2025 terms, that's $605 billion. Nearly 2 years of Germany's entire GDP. Economist John Maynard Keynes condemned the Treaty of Versailles as a Carthaginian Peace, a settlement so harsh it was designed to cripple Germany forever. He warned that Germany simply could not pay the reparations demanded of it. In his words, the German capacity to pay is limited. She cannot furnish the vast annual tribute which her enemies demand. Keynes argued that if Germany collapsed, Europe would collapse with it. If Germany is forced into economic ruin, Europe cannot escape the consequences. Disgusted, he resigned from the British Treasury and wrote The Economic Consequences of the Peace, a book savagely criticizing the treaty and predicting economic disaster across Europe. But here's the question: could Germany actually pay? The impossible debt. Germany's economy was in ruins. Production facilities destroyed. Unemployment skyrocketing. And this is the real shock. Germany had already borrowed 144 billion marks during the war by issuing domestic bonds. Kaiser Wilhelm II and the parliament had a plan. They'd borrow money to fund the war, then win, and force the losing side to pay reparations to cover the debt. It worked before. In 1871, after the Franco-Prussian War, Germany extracted 5 billion francs from France. But this time, Germany lost. Now they owed 144 billion marks in domestic bonds, plus 132 billion gold marks in reparations. Total debt, 276 billion marks. How do you pay that when your economy is destroyed? The Allies made it even worse. They demanded payment in gold, dollars, or British pounds, not German marks. Even British Prime Minister David Lloyd George knew Germany couldn't pay. But France? France wanted blood. French Prime Minister Georges Clemenceau wanted Germany crippled permanently. So Germany had one option left: print money. But this wasn't just about paying reparations. There was a hidden agenda: the deliberate destruction. The German people saw the Treaty of Versailles as national humiliation. The representatives who signed it were called the November Criminals, branded as sellouts. In this atmosphere, the German government made a calculated decision. August 1921. Rudolf Havenstein, president of Germany's central bank, the Reichsbank, made a shocking announcement. Germany would print unlimited marks. The official reason? They needed marks to buy foreign currency to pay reparations. But wait, there's something strange here. Reparations had to be paid in gold, dollars, or pounds, not marks. So printing unlimited marks couldn't actually pay the debt. In fact, the more marks they printed, the less each mark was worth, which meant they needed even more marks to buy the same amount of foreign currency. In 1921, it took 60 marks to buy $1. By the end of 1923, it took 4.2 trillion marks to buy $1. The reparations were growing exponentially. So why did Germany keep doing this? The answer is simple. They never intended to pay. The man with a plan. Enter Wilhelm Kuno, German Chancellor from 1922 to 1923. Kuno wasn't a politician. He was a shipping magnate, a businessman. And he had a strategy, a brilliant, ruthless strategy. His thinking was along the lines of this: if we allow the German economy to collapse completely, the Allies will no longer be able to demand reparations from us. short-term devastation for long-term freedom from this impossible debt. Internal government documents reveal that Germany deliberately delayed currency reform and budget reform because it was strategically advantageous. British and French experts noticed. They accused Germany of intentionally destroying its own currency to avoid paying reparations. And they were right, but then something unexpected happened. Late 1922, Germany failed to deliver coal and timber payments for nearly 6 months. The Reparations Commission declared Germany in default. French President Raymond Poincaré was furious, and he took extreme action. January 11, 1923, 60,000 French and Belgian troops crossed the German border. Their destination? The Ruhr region, Germany's industrial heartland. 80% of Germany's steel and coal production, 70% of its freight transport. Germany, disarmed and defenseless, couldn't resist. The Ruhr was occupied, but the German government saw an opportunity. The weapon of hyperinflation. Chancellor Kuno responded with a radical order, a campaign of passive resistance. He urged workers and officials across the Ruhr to refuse cooperation with the occupiers and to shut down industry. A kind of government-backed general strike, officially framed as nonviolent. 2 million workers went on strike. But there was a problem. Those 2 million workers still needed to eat. They needed wages. And the German government had no money. So they printed more. Kuno used the occupation as a PR weapon. He basically told the world, look how France is oppressing us. How can we possibly pay reparations under these conditions? And it worked. Britain and the United States harshly criticized France. Britain called the occupation illegal. America condemned it as a policy of force. Germany was winning the international sympathy game. But the cost, the German people paid it. To support the striking workers, the government printed money at an insane rate. Hyperinflation accelerated. Store prices changed by the hour. People trusted goods more than money. Economist Milton Friedman once famously said, inflation is always and everywhere a monetary phenomenon. In the case of hyperinflation, it isn't solely a monetary phenomenon, but a political one. Hyperinflation simply doesn't happen unless it is deliberately caused by a political system. Germany's hyperinflation wasn't an accident. It was a choice. The government sacrificed its people to escape debt and turn a crisis into political leverage. And it worked. The 144 billion marks in domestic bonds, wiped out by inflation. The Allies eventually came to the negotiating table to reduce reparations. But there was a limit to this strategy: the people. The breaking point. By November 1923, Germany was in chaos. Riots broke out across the country. People looted stores for food and basic necessities. Farmers refused to accept marks as payment. People starved. People died. Political calculations couldn't override reality. The strategy had achieved its goal: debt relief and sympathy, but at catastrophic human cost. America, 2025. The same playbook. Now let's talk about the United States. The parallels to 1920s Weimar Germany are terrifying. During COVID-19, the US government printed trillions of dollars in stimulus. The result? Inflation surged to its highest levels in 2022. An MIT study confirmed what many suspected. The 2022 inflation spike was caused by federal government spending. But America had something Germany didn't: a safeguard. The Federal Reserve raised interest rates from 0.25% to 5% starting in March 2022. They stopped quantitative easing. Inflation slowed. But now the pressure is back. President Trump, a businessman, much like Germany's Kuno, is pushing trade wars and tariff policies that are stoking inflation. And he's demanding the Federal Reserve lower interest rates and restart quantitative easing. In other words, print unlimited dollars again. America's national debt has surpassed $38 trillion. If the Federal Reserve stops quantitative tightening and restarts quantitative easing, the debt will grow exponentially. And remember, the economy is holding lit bombs: real estate bubbles, stock market bubbles, crypto speculation, leveraged derivatives. Printing more money is like pouring gasoline on a fire. Hyperinflation destroys debt. It burns it away. Does the US government actually believe it can pay back $38 trillion? Or do they have another agenda? Look at Venezuela. Look at Argentina. Countries experiencing hyperinflation right now. The pattern is always the same. Ordinary people pay the price. Germany in 1923 used hyperinflation as a weapon against its creditors. It worked, politically. But millions of Germans lost everything. America in 2025 is walking the same path. Massive debt, unlimited printing, political pressure to keep the money flowing. Consequences are coming. It's just a matter of time. And when they do, remember this: The elites don't suffer. The powerful don't lose. Ordinary people do. History doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. And right now, the rhythm is deafening. For centuries, financial powers have used inflation, debt, and crisis as tools of control. From Jekyll Island to the Great Depression to hyperinflation, it's all connected. Once you see the pattern, you can't unsee it. Subscribe to Endgame Economics, because understanding history is the only way to survive what's coming. The elites know the playbook, and now you do too.